what I want to know is what's the attitude? What's the attitude for the United States government? How they see this? How they see the so-called Taiwan Civil Government? I mean, of course, in the official view, how they treat that is the most important, and that's what I want to know. Thank you.
Well, that's a good question.
So this is a good question, and of course, the answer to this question, I mean, we're going, like I say, we're starting to get rolling in Washington, D.C., and then we'll have the appropriate people there. First, they'll be writing the letters to the government offices, like I said, Department of State and National Security Council, Department of Defense, and all these. And then we have the list of all the people who were invited, especially a lot of the think tanks. And of course, not all of them came, so we'll be getting in touch with them. You know, and we had the cocktail party, so we'll say, okay, we think maybe you didn't have a chance to come, so here's our information, and then we want to have a chance to talk to you more in person, et cetera, et cetera. So then following this up, it's a good question to ask, what's the attitude? We'll be waiting for the replies, see if we get some replies from the U.S. government offices. But then at some point, you know, it would be useful if you could, also if you could write to your congressional representatives and ask them and say, okay, look, here's this government offices set up here, and I mean, I don't see under the San Francisco Peace Treaty, I don't see why the Republic of China is in Taiwan. So, I mean, the people have the right to have their own civil government. So, please, Mr. Representative, what's your view on this important subject? And then maybe he'll send your letter to State Department or something for their reply. That's another way to do it, you know. And then you have your address on there to show that you're living in his district. They only care about people who live in their district, you know. So maybe after some weeks or two, let's see, what is it now? Middle of September, maybe by October, you should be maybe writing some letters to some of your representatives and asking, you know, asking what's the story on this Taiwan Civil Government? They have the office in D.C. now, and I understand from what I've read on their website is, you know, this is what the truth of Taiwan, the way the Taiwan government should be forming. I mean, not with this, you know, government in exile Republic of China over there. So if you can put some pressure on your representatives, maybe that will be helpful too.
I will cover a little bit of your question. September 8th, I was there. Okay, just few of us was there, and we actually make a big noise in Washington D.C. And your question is very sharp question. You probably wonder, this Taiwan Civil Government is recognized by the United States. That's what probably in your mind. Okay, let's put it this way. In the past 400 years of Taiwanese history, and there's no any real representative on behalf of Taiwan say, I will represent Taiwan in Washington, D.C. Look at the representative now. It's representative of Republic of China. Either KMT or DPP. Either or. They never, you know, identify we are Taiwanese people. We are on behalf of Taiwanese, you know, population or group. Of course, Republic of Taiwan is not established yet. It takes time. It's not there yet. So this question actually led to the expertise of Richard talk about the international law, the legal studies, and for all this sequence of the war, you know, how this transaction from the war status, the occupation into the civil government, how this transaction will occur. Maybe you can kick in there. Yeah. So I think this is important. We make a big noise in Washington, D.C. At this, we call the thesis people attention, say, hey, now these people identify they are Taiwanese, they are the government of the Taiwan Civil Government. Civil government doesn't mean the real Taiwan Republic of Taiwan. It's not yet. It's still a long way to go.
In the process of, yeah. In a kind of zhong tu zhijia, you know. This is the thing. This is the difference we have with the DPP or some of these other groups. They seem to think that Taiwan can just jump to independence, but I think I don't think you can do that. First, you have to define who you are, and then you have to define a direction for what you want to achieve. You know. So I mean, let's just go back to Taiwan. If you have this girl who's about 18 years old, but she doesn't know who her father is, but you know, Mr. Gu Zhenfu died, and she looks a lot like him, and her mother was a maid in his house when she was younger, and all these facts, you know. Well, you've got two things there. If you want to try to get some inheritance, you know, that's a legal process. But first, you've got to consider, are you Gu Zhenfu's daughter or not? That you're going to have to yenzheng that's a DNA, you know. So this is the difference between us and some of the other groups. And they think, 我不需要验证 DNA， 我直接跳到我国际社会的我要所有的权利。But I don't think you can do that, and I think the history of the last 20, 30, 40 years also says you can't do that, you know. 你先确定你的身份, you know. What is your 身份 now? What are you now? You know, no one can answer this question. We have the answer on our website. You know, we use the 战争法. We can arrive at the answer. But they don't study this kind of law, and they have no answer when you give them the question, what is Taiwan now? Otherwise, they say, oh, Taiwan 已经是主权独立。那已经主权独立，你这些要求主权的活动在干嘛? You know, it makes no sense. You know, I already have a big jar of peanut butter in my refrigerator, and I go outside saying, I want to buy peanut butter, I have no peanut butter. I want to buy peanut butter, I have no peanut butter. It makes no sense. I don't know, to an American. See, I'm an American too. I think these issues are very. It's a very exacting kind of thing, you know. It's a very 明确, exact kind of thing. How can you say this and in the next sentence you say something that's 互相矛盾? I think the Americans are very sensitive to that. But I don't know. But maybe some of these people they're not. So that's why. We said a lot of the things they said, 他到联合国也好，他到美国行政部门也好, and then a lot of the things they say, they don't get listened to. Why? Because 你讲话前后矛盾. So how can I listen to you? You know. So I think this is part of the situation. But anyway, it's a good direction now because we got this set up. We got some communication with these branch offices, and the other thing you have to remember is, if you read the newspaper now, it seems that the United States is more and more angry with China. They're more and more angry with China. You can see many headlines where the United States is angry about some Chinese policy, some Chinese action, things like this. So this means, you know, they're not afraid to maybe make China more angry now. Because, you know, if they do this, this will make China more angry too. But I don't think they're afraid of that anymore. I don't think they're afraid. They're hoping. They're hoping to do something because this Maui Nita is also something. This huge budget deficit, trade deficit. This is something that a lot of the 国会议员, they're very upset about. They're very mad about, you know. So they're trying to find some way to get this straightened out. So these are all some interesting factors.